guys, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for another one of our Patreon campaign episodes of The Rise, our Cypher Systems session, our Cypher Systems campaign. We are on the fourth, let me check my notes, the fourth arc of this. We are on episode 44. Wild. We've been playing this game for like 2 years now. That's a crazy amount of time.
4 years.
2 years? What did I say? Did I say 2 years?
You said 2 years.
I meant 4 years. I can math. Almost 4 years. Actually, it's probably over.
I think we're like October is when you guys started in 2020. So this is the fourth year month anniversary.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's some crazy shit.
Love it.
I have some of the longest campaigns on this channel in my whole life. They're all here. Hell yeah. As always, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is just like these fine folks over in our Patreon, link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link. Join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, I will unleash more dinosaurs on the players. You heard it here first. One dinosaur per corruption bar. And two, every single dollar that goes into that goes back to the channel for all kinds of things like mortgages and lights, cameras, actions, etc. But with that, let's jump right in. Previously on The Rise, Mina and Korax secretly descended into the first deep ahead of their expedition, unable to wait for the answers they sought. Realizing their companions had vanished, Antares and Seydlitz followed them into the deeps, tracking their movements through the winding caverns. After surviving a deadly ambush by the Kaffir, the group barely had time to catch their breath before the roar of thunder beasts echoed through the darkness, which sounded like this. I forgot how long that sound effect was. Should have been like half that. Like, it's so long. I regret nothing.
Maybe their vision is based on movement, people.
Just like real dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Jurassic Park fact, is they were like, that's not real. That's not.
It's Mina's time to die in the series, right?
Yeah.
Or he already died once.
Everyone has died. That's true. Everyone has died but Mina.
Yeah.
Everyone has died but Mina.
Dies, we're screwed.
Seydlitz did die.
No, I almost died.
Seydlitz died. That's how we got the bear, the wolf bear, Kitsune
the big
fox
wolf
thing.
spirit thing.
Yeah. When he got into a fight with a giant bear, the spirit bear, it savaged him. And he got brought. The Kitsune made a pact with him, and came back to life. The spirit, the forest spirit. So, as luck would have it, actually, you know what? I believe I have. I already wrote, rather than make it up. I think I already wrote descriptions of these guys. Well, I'd be wrong. What the fuck do I know? Cool. So you see the shadow of these massive creatures stomping through a tunnel in your direction. Mina, Korax, Antares, Seydlitz, you guys are all kind of in the same area together. Tandri, your guide, is sort of off to one side. And you see him frantically looking around for other options on where to go. Right? Obviously, the path of giant dinosaur monsters is the quickest and easiest route. However, there has to be more. He is looking around frantically, just sort of like eyes scanning, head snapping back and forth, mouth sort of agape, as you see these shadows get smaller and smaller as they make their way further from their light source. And you begin to see this massive, like, 15-foot tall, leathery, reptilian-skinned monstrosity on 4 massive tree trunk legs. This thing trundles out of the cave with a smaller one behind it as it... And it roars again, reverberating and echoing off the cave walls. What are the 4 of you doing as its head, which is easily the size of A merchant's wagon emerges from the tunnel, and you hear it roar again. You see it roar this time, and you see just rows of razor-sharp teeth.
Does it see us?
Roll for insight on dinosaur.
I'll
You
let the
can
boys go first.
you can see it like sniffing the air.
And Terry
Mina reaches down to where Corax is and puts a sort of like hand on his shoulder and says, "Stay behind me. This might be rough." And he puts devoted defender on to Corax.
Okay.
Corax is pretty rough. He slowly tries to get to his knees and sort of onto one knee to try and stand up behind Mina. But I do need to ask, Mike, how big is this cavern that we are in? I'm assuming we're in the middle.
You are in a large cavern. You are in. Well, these things are like 15 to 20 feet tall, so it's definitely bigger than that. So this is probably like a 50-ish, 50 to 60 foot size cavern. But there are like massive stalactites, massive stalagmites. So it's a pretty sizable cavern.
And how far is their entrance to us?
Probably from you guys, maybe 30, 40 feet.
30, 40 feet. Okay. And how wide is the room?
The part that is safely traversable is probably like 50 feet wide, and then there's a little bit of a drop off.
Okay, so where we are, it's about 50 foot wide. Okay. And they are about, you said about 30 feet away from us.
About 30 feet away from you, in front of you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Corax is going to get to his feet as slowly as he can behind Mina. And he is going to try and grab from the ground one of these slings from the guys who were throwing things from the ceiling down at us. So if there's one of those nearby, he'll take one of those.
Okay.
And last question, the tunnel that they are in, how wide is that tunnel compared to the beast, the large one?
It is probably like 20 feet wide. You see like a couple, maybe 5 or like 3 to 5 feet on either side of this thing, based on how big it is. It's pretty wide. It's like 10 feet wide.
Okay. In that case, once Corax is on his feet, he's going to put a hand on Mina's shoulder, and he is going to run towards the beast.
You all see Corax sort of stumble and get pulled to his feet. You see, Mina, is there a glow to your protector, or defender, rather?
Yeah, there's a golden glow that kind of starts, because he's, I think he's got his nimbus up. He had it up during the last combat. So there's a glow that starts from the nimbus and then surrounds Corax.
Okay, so you see a bit of a glow on a golden glow on Corax as he like pulls himself / is pulled to his feet. You see him quickly like look around and then run as the the gold sort of starts to like fade into him, and he runs in the direction of the dinosaurs.
He is not running far, Mike. So he wants to get to about 18 feet from the entrance to their tunnel, and that's where he is stopping.
So you're closing about half the distance.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll say, Mina, you acted. So Antares and Seydlitz, you see Mina like pulling Corax to his feet, and then you see Corax take off in the direction of the creatures that you are seeing emerge.
I think her first action, like when they first arrived and they heard the roar, would have been to Tandri. She would have like grabbed him by like the scruff of his his collar and like pulled him like closer and like seriously yelled in his face, like, "Get us way out of here!" And then like shoved him away. And then she's gonna draw her sword.
Thought the beast didn't see us at this moment.
That was just me being hopeful.
I have not said if the beast has seen you or not.
I'm not approaching yet. I'm just
Seydlitz, on the other hand, would probably watch Korax run at them, think to himself, well, he's a goner, and probably take Tandry somewhere to hide before he even considers joining the fight.
he's looking for a way out.
Yeah, Tandry. You see Tandry like as soon as he interacts with Antares, he's like runs to the wall. Like so if you're facing the monsters, he runs to the left side. Creatures, they're not monsters, just regular, living their lives.
Seydlitz is going to remain unseen for the time being, if he can.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, you can. I believe you used your super stealthy move last time, so.
Yeah, I used Evanescence.
Yeah, I don't see why.
Read that for you.
I don't see why that doesn't still affect right now.
You step into the shadows behind cover, and everyone who was observing you completely loses track of you. Although you're not invisible, you can't be seen until you reveal yourself again by moving out of the shadows or from behind cover.
Perfect. Yeah, so you...
Or by making an attack.
So you stay where you were. Antares pulls out her sword, and I assume Mina looks like this. As Korax runs towards the thunder beasts. Korax, what are you doing? Everyone wonders.
So, when Korax gets to about the halfway point, he slams on brakes, down on one knee. He reaches into his cloak and grabs one of his books and starts to chant. And then on the floor, for the 20 feet in front of him, about a foot wide, the floor glows and a wall appears after a few seconds. That is a level 6 granite wall. It is 1 foot thick and 20 feet by 20 feet in size. And it appears resting on a solid foundation and lasts for 10 hours. And his goal is to block the tunnels so the big beast can't get in. And if it is in, then that's fine. Korax will go down the opposite side to the beast.
Perfect. What is the hit points of the wall? Does it say?
It doesn't say.
That's an inconvenient amount.
Quick, message Trevor what the HP is of a granite wall.
Of a granite wall.
A foot thick.
A 1 foot thick granite wall. You said it's level what?
Level 6.
Level 6. All right, cool. Well, here's what I'll tell you. I have a thing that's level 6, so we'll give it a similar hit point value. Let's see, I have one level 6 thing that is 20 hit points. I have another one that is 23, so we're in the 20s. Let's see, I have another one that's in 22, so in the 20 range. Cool. So I'll give you 25. I'll give you a friendly 25 hit points on this wall.
Perfect.
Just a little, like a smidge of a wall. So Full Metal Alchemist, hands to the ground, chanting. A granite wall emerges from rock that is absolutely not granite, and forms, sort of blocking off. So it will be 20 feet across, and your goal is to put it in the tunnel?
He's trying to put it straight down into the tunnel to block it off so the big one can't get through.
Oh,
so he's about 20 foot from the tunnel,
so,
and he's putting it straight in front of him.
So if the tunnel is here, you want it going down like a train, not across like a wall. Oh.
Correct.
Oh.
And if the beast is underneath it, I won't complain to the beast getting hit in the roof.
Cheeky. The beast does not get splinched in your wall. That I promise you. Outstanding. I love that. You hear this thing roar again. Now seemingly trapped in here. And you can see, like, on one side is the head, and then you see on the other side is the other head, as you're, like, standing kind of, like, at, like, the head of the arrow. And you can see the two of them are just sort of smashing against the wall of the cavern that they're in and the wall of the wall. And you can see that there are cracks beginning to spider in your wall. And you know what? For funsies, here's what we'll do. I'm gonna have you. This is interesting. Rolling off in Cypher system is always a fun thing to do. I'm gonna say make me a difficulty 7 might roll. Not for you, just make a might roll, difficulty 7. None of your negatives apply to this. So you can just roll me a straight like d20. And I'll give you one asset for the wall. So it'd be a 21, so an asset would bring it down to an 18.
Oh, roll of a 10.
Okay. You see they smash into this and cracks splinter through this thing. As 10 damage is dealt to the wall. From one of the thunder beasts. So you guys see Korax make this wall, and you see the thunder beasts on the other side just smashing their way into this thing, trying to get out. If there was any doubt that they had seen you, that doubt is removed. Mina and Terry Seydlitz, what do you do, if anything? You may panic as a free action.
Mina is shocked to have seen so much action out of Korax. So he just charges to where Korax is and to interpose himself between Korax and...
What are the snake people, Mike?
Hold on 1 second. Were you finished, Snow?
And I was just going to say, he'll get between Korax and the dinos, and he will activate Fury.
Ooh, what does that do?
Gives him +2 damage.
Okay.
To all his attacks.
Okay. Does it? I think is that the first time we've seen that?
He activated on the bridge, but he didn't get a chance to punch Korax.
That's fair. So perfect. So we see you interpose yourself and charge up for the battle to come. Seydlitz, what was your question?
I was asking if the snake people were still present.
No, anything that was left alive, which I don't think there was anything, would have left. But I'm pretty sure Korax and Mina had dealt with all of them.
All right, making sure. Seydlitz will step out of his shadowy ability right behind Mina and put a hand on his shoulder.
Okay. Mina, you are now acutely aware that Seydlitz is here and right there.
Mina will jump because it scared the shit out of him because he was focusing downrange and get somewhere to shoot these guys.
We would be better off if we found a way out.
We need to get through them. And Mina looks at Korax to make sure that's correct.
Korax, yeah. They're in the way.
There's a difference between bravery and foolishness, and right now you two are being very foolish. Fall back, and we will figure it out later.
How does Korax look right now?
He is bad. Korax has broken ribs. He is struggling. Even the casting of that spell, where he would have been like up on his feet, he's probably dropped to a knee again. With the cost of casting that spell, it's taking more and more out of him.
Yeah, he's bleeding his own blood, and that's a problem for Korax, especially. So as this conversation of what to do happens, Antares, what are you doing?
She doesn't run up. She strides up purposefully.
Mm.
Doesn't say anything. And she noticed like since like Korax went down on one knee and looks like utter crap, she grabs him by the scruff of his cloak and hauls him up, and she's going to like assist him from standing. For now.
Okay.
Until she has to start swinging her sword.
You see, as all the four of you congregate together near the one end of the wall, you see the larger of the two thunder beasts begins to make a sound. You heard the roar. It sort of rattled your bones. This is not that. It is loud, and it is definitely like roar-esque, but it is in short, choppy bursts. And you see it start to like, almost like bark, right? Where it's like, roar, 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 roar. And it begins to back away. And you see the other one almost like acknowledging with like a roar, 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 as that one begins to back away as well. And before you have a moment to really think that, you know, maybe you got out of this fine, you see the larger one bury its head down and start to charge at a speed that is terrifying for which this thing, its size is, as it crashes headfirst into the end of the wall, and you see 10 feet of that wall is removed as it collides down to the ground, sort of cascading off this thing. You see it raise its head and sort of shake it off as it begins to back up out of the tunnel and prepare for another run.
I think this thing has done this before. Yeah, when it does that, Antares hasn't said anything yet. She, like, with Korax, like, held on, she, like, spins and, like, pulls him out of the way of, like, any debris that comes flying forward.
I would like everyone to make me a roll. It's going to be intelligence-based.
If this is okay with Korax, of course. Or with Chris. Okay.
I need everyone to make me a level 6 intelligence-based roll here. Intellect defense, if you have it.
Does anything count towards this, Mike?
Anything mental health related counts towards this.
I can give you might defense.
You can just roll a straight intellect.
Can I use devoted defender as an asset?
Let me see. Is devoted defender on your character sheet?
Yeah, down in the special abilities section.
Down in the special abilities.
I'd also like to argue danger sense as a asset as well.
That one I can tell you right off the bat, no.
Mike.
Becomes your ward. You are trained in all staff. So this would be protecting your ward. So what I can say is, if you want to argue devoted defender for Mina, you would give it to Korax.
Okay, yep, he'll give it to Korax then.
Okay, so Korax, you have an asset for this.
An asset. Okay, and Korax, during the battle with the snake people, had cast his protection bubble, which is a bubble that moves around with him for immediate range for 1 minute. Would that still be up?
Yes, but barely, and would not affect you in this time.
So this ability reduces the difficulty of all defense rolls for me and all creatures I designate within the bubble by 1 step. And sounds no louder than a normal speaking voice will go through the bubble.
I will take it, but when you cast it, the only person around was Mina.
It goes with him, though.
But it's only the
He's
people
always
you declared.
around him.
Yep.
Oh, true.
But it's the people you declared in the thing. So it's you. So you'll get an asset from Mina, an asset from that. Mina will get an asset from that. Seydlitz was a nat
Mike,
20. Holy shit.
I rolled a 20 with no anything implied.
That's wild.
Can I do anything with that?
Yes, you can. Let me get Korax's roll first.
Succeeded somehow.
Wow.
I was debating, it's like, do I want to apply effort to this? It's like, I don't have much intellect
What?
anyway. It's like, I'm screwed. So I just went straight flat roll.
What do I want to give you something for a nat 20. I just have to figure out what the fuck it is.
What are we trying to perceive here?
You're not perceiving anything.
Are we trying not to fear?
You are so Seydlitz, you become hardened to this effect. This effect no longer affects you for at least the next 24 hours. However,
Hooray!
Antares and Mina, you are overcome with a sense of hopelessness.
Does it stack?
With what? With the hopelessness you already felt before?
Yes.
Oh shit!
And what is it? The freaking orb of...
It's the orb of sad
sadness.
times.
Yeah.
You are faced with imminent danger that you have no idea if you can face, and you are hopeless in the sight of this. You see that Korax is almost dead, is badly wounded. You are not prepared for a fight of this nature. Your guide is terrified. You were warned to avoid these, even with your magical abilities. And Mina, you're, maybe not physically, but like fucking, you're tired, man. You just fought off a small ground troop invasion. And now there are two massive beasts that are plowing through a wall with their face. The two of you, Earth's mightiest defenders, are a little hopeless in the face of terror, and there is some doubt. Some doubt creeps in that you cannot defeat this. This is not a battle you can win. However you guys decide to do that, that's entirely up to you. Seydlitz, you are hardened against this effect and cannot be affected by the Heart of Despair. I think that's what it's called. For the next 24 hours. Heart of Gloom.
Using
Mina looks at Korax and says, maybe Seydlitz is right. Maybe we need to get out of here.
Korax looks back to Mina. We just need to wait for them to come through, and they pick a side, and we run down the tunnel. It's that simple. And then we block it up behind them and run.
I think Korax's default was we can't win this fight, so you can't get worse than that. That's how you skated by on that roll. Is at no point in your life have you ever thought, we could take that.
We're not fighting. Korax is getting out of here.
Yeah.
That's his goal.
You couldn't get hopeless because you never had it to begin with.
They're going to break through.
Crazy because you really think you can outrun them?
When there's another wall in their way blocking the entire tunnel, I can hope.
And they're breaking down this one. What happens when they break down that one?
We'll be further away from them than we are right now.
What it fucking matters? She mutters under her breath.
I think Mina goes, okay, he looks at Antares, get ready to run with Korax. And he will run to the other side of the wall and go in to attack the dinosaur to try to distract them to let the others get away.
To be clear, you're going in which side?
The side that they aren't on. The rest of them aren't on.
There's two, and they're sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
They backed up to like ram the wall again.
Oh, okay. Mina will go to the left side and to the dinosaur that just hit the wall and try to strike it to try to get it to move down the left side of the wall.
So you're not trying to hit the dinosaur. You're trying to like draw its attention, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Roll me a. I'll say this will be difficulty 5. This will be a difficulty 5. How are you doing this with like loud noises, making yourself a big target?
I think, Mina's will try to use his great social interaction abilities and try to talk to it in a nice way, which pisses everyone else off. So he's assuming it's going to piss off a
Perfect.
Who's
dinosaur.
a good boy?
Perfect.
Who's a ferocious little dinosaur?
It's a difficulty 5 check. You can use might for this one if you'd like.
Can he add in his devoted defender?
I'll buy that. It is protecting Korax in a way. I'll take it.
Remember, the greatest god that ever lived.
That's
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you see this thing is like ready for another attack, and you begin like taunting it and getting it to come towards you. You see it. It doesn't barrel at the wall again, but it does move quickly towards where you are. And you see it like lodge its head between the wall and the natural wall, and begin snapping at you. And you smell the worst, like decayed meat smell, just like fetid, rotten food reeking out of its mouth as it like and just like snaps towards you in this thing. Still not enough length in its neck or ability in this tunnel to get to you, so it's just out of your reach, but you've drawn its ire. And Terry, Seydlitz, what are you up to?
As she's she had pulled Korax to the side of the room. Like, I'm assuming like the tunnel is not like there's like the tunnel and then there's like a wall or whatever that opens up into the room. So like she's like pulled him to the side.
Yeah.
So she's not like in the view of the tunnel, and then she like threw Korax to the side. He like bounces off of the wall or something like that, and then she's standing there watching Mina go, and she's like, "Fuck, we're gonna die. This is it." She like feels like she hears like a huff of air from behind her, and she feels her hair move, and then she turns and looks over her shoulder, and she sees a crack in the wall, almost like a fissure, and this warm air is like flowing through it, and it might look just wide enough for them to squeeze through, video game style, and like shimmy through.
Okay.
And she's like, Tandri here.
So that is a XP spent from G for this move. You see Tandri sprint over from where he is along the wall towards you and Korax, and he notices this warm rush of air the same way you do. You see him like look back and forth, and you see him sort of like begin to shimmy himself in there, and he gets in just enough so that you can see like his hand is still outside of the hole, so he's still like holding onto the wall. And you, if you're paying attention, you can kind of see him feeling around for something, and you see him shimmy back out, look to you as if he's gonna say something, and then like you see him realize that like he doesn't have time for that, and he begins to like look around, and you see him like run maybe 10 feet away, drop to his knees, and he begins like looking on the ground for something, like he's actively searching on the ground for something.
Can we use it? Can we get through?
Just 1 minute, please. 1 minute. And you see him grab a snake, like a squared snake-shaped object that like you're not sure what it was, but like you saw snake people, so maybe it's something they had. And you see him grab this thing, and you see him like snap the end of it off as he charges back towards the wall, shimmies himself back in, and you see he like reaches in to his like wherever he had this thing and sort of puts it into something. And you hear the sound of stone grinding on stone as the fissure opens up to be about 3-4 feet wide. And you see him like as the walls like decompress on him, he kind of breathes in. And he says, "This way, quickly!" and he begins to move down the tunnel.
If Korax is close enough, she will grab him again.
Korax will hold onto the wall to make sure he doesn't get pushed in, and he shouts back to Mina. Mina, it's time to run. Let's go.
Yeah, go. Everyone go. I'm right behind you all.
Seydlitz is very much going to be right behind Hendry's heels.
Okay. So Antares, Seydlitz, Tandri, you follow
No.
Tandri into the wall.
I'm making sure that Mina is coming.
Okay. Korax, are you headed in or are you also waiting?
He's waiting at the door because he's going to put up another wall to give Mina some means of escape.
Okay,
This is
so-
his plan.
So it's like everyone's sort of congregated around this 3-foot hole in the wall. Tandri has gone through, Seydlitz has gone through, and Antares and Korax are kind of like at the entrance doing that, like, let's go, let's go. Mina, what are you doing?
If Mina sees that they've all headed towards the wall, he'll kind of shout one last insult and make his way to the passageway.
Outstanding. On that insult, GM intrusion. The wall gives out is the intrusion. Do you take it?
I will take that.
Hell yeah. You get an XP and you get to give one to a friend of yours.
Oh, well, it was poor Korax's wall, so he can have that.
That's fair.
Thanks,
as
Noel.
you hurl this insult and you turn, right? We have that slow motion like movie moment where we see like Mina turn and then the does the camera out dolly in or the zoom out dolly in thing where like everything sort of elongates and we see Mina just running. We see Antares and Korax are like, let's go. And then we can see Mina see it on Antares and Korax's face as the thunder beast through the rest of the wall, and you can see them go, oh shit! In that moment, as Mina is running, and you can hear the behind you. Go ahead and roll me a difficulty 7 might defense.
Might or speed?
I'm sorry, speed defense.
No.
You have an XP if you'd like to spend it immediately.
I would not like to spend it immediately.
Outstanding. Go ahead and make me a might defense.
Oh,
Hey,
Oh.
that's awesome. Cool. All right, so we're going to collab on this description here. So the speed defense is this thing's going to get you. The might defense is to either pull free or something, whatever you do, to not be shaken like a dog in the mouth of this thing. Which it would have just kept chewing on you like a chew toy. So you're going to take 10 points of damage. Your armor does apply to that. And then how do you resist being like fucking chewed up by this thing?
I think at the last minute you just see Mina just turn and put his shield in one hand up and his spear down in the other hand, and the jaws bite down on him, but because of the position of the spear, it stabs into the mouth of the beast, so it can't. It immediately opens them back up rather than clamping down, and Mina jumps out.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah. Cool. So I'm going to give you an immediate, I'll take the 4 damage on that. And this thing, should we ever see it again, is at 4 less health than it started with, which is sizable. It's more than twice the health of that wall. It like roars again, extending its jaw, and you kind of like dislodge and like roll towards the hole in the wall, this crevasse, as it were, and you barrel in as like your Antares and Korax are pulling you forward, and as soon as you break the wall, the threshold of the wall, Korax, do you put up a new wall?
Yeah, as Mina is getting clear, he's going to put another wall up between Mina and the beast. And
Like
if
long ways
Mina's
across
in-
the wall? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So any light that was coming from that cavern of like the fungi and all that kind of stuff is immediately blotted out. You are in total darkness as this wall shook across here. You know the direction, Antares, because you saw him go that way. I mean, there's only really one direction you can go. But this tunnel is now plunged into darkness.
Mina has his nimbus, if that. Sheds
Oh, that's
any
true.
light.
That does cast a little bit of light. Any
Antares
nimbuses
will
out would
trackers
cast
on
some
as
light. Built-in flashlight.
And Corax's resonance field is going as well.
That's true. There's a slight glow around Corax.
And he's got the glow from Mina. So he's probably purple now.
Gold and blue, yeah. More or less. Cool. So did the three of you head down the tunnel?
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything, she just shimmies her way.
No need to
Corax's
shimmy
hands
anymore.
on the
It
Oh.
opened up to be 3 feet wide.
Yes.
Corax is walking hand on the wall the whole way down.
Yeah. More than the walls supporting Corax than Corax is walking by himself. You guys make your way, and anyone, especially Seydlitz, but anyone else with like sort of, anyone who's above half their intelligence pool, you immediately get the feeling that you're going down. There's a not a steep incline, but a nice smooth transition. But you are going deeper than the floor that you were on before, and you can feel that rush of warm air as you're getting through. Seydlitz, you were the first one out of this, and you see that there is probably from the exit of the tunnel is a 15-foot like outcropping, like a precipice there, and you see to the left when you exit there is a switchback sort of ridge line that goes deeper, and nothing to the right hand side, and you can hear something that sounds like rushing water. But it's not like you would expect a cave that like underground rushing water to be cold. There's like a warmth kind of coming up in this thing. It's not like hot, but like it's definitely like warm. And Tandri gets to the end, sort of skids out of the tunnel, and is like doubled over with his hands on his knees, breathing heavily, as he, like you see this like moss and like lichen that glows in this part of the cave, sort of like twinkling stars above you, and he like looses his pack and just sort of like collapses for a second on the ground next to his pack.
So those are thunder beasts, huh?
Yeah, those are two of them. There's two of them. They travel in pairs, and that was two of them.
Seydlitz looks back towards the now dark little tunnel they walked down.
You see the
I
glow getting brighter.
assume that using whatever that was is going to cost extra.
What was?
That item you used to make a tunnel.
Oh no! It was a Kathir thing. The Kathir, the snake people, they live here, and they have secret tunnels and entrances and hideaways all over. Antares found one. I just happened to notice that there was a mechanism in the wall. I didn't bring that. I found it on one of the bodies.
Seydlitz just gives a low chuckle. I guess chalk it up to almighty luck then.
Yeah, sure. And you see him, and as Corax, Mina, and Antares are emerging, you will see him like he's in an awkward, like half kneeling, half squatting position as he is going through his pack. And like as you get out into the light of the like lichen and fungi covered cavern, you see him pull out a fabric roll and then untie it, and he just flaps out a pair of pants.
I'm not even going to ask.
You stare down two thunder beasts and not shit your pants. You know what
Seydlitz
his
is just
his
going
special
to
power
respectfully turn away.
You know what his special power is? Blood gusher. That's his special power. Is when you bite him, he squeezes out blood from all of the holes. That's his special ability. His class is
Jesus Christ.
human man.
Seydlitz is just going to politely turn away.
Yeah. You see him begin to anyone who like doesn't catch on will see him begin to like change and prepare for the whatever how many other legs of this journey there could be.
When
Go ahead.
go for it.
No, go ahead.
When Korax, I'm assuming, is at the back because he would have cast the wall as
Mhm.
Mina was in, and he's fallen behind a little bit. When he walks into this space, he sort of, with his arms leaning still against the wall, he just slides down in the entrance and just sits there, breathing mightily heavily.
Yeah, and Terry's walks in to this room, and she like regards everybody, makes sure everyone's there, and she kind of just stands off to the side, and she's not saying anything, and she's just readjusting every little piece of clothing and equipment on her person. She's rebuckling her the belt of her sword hilt and everything, and yeah.
Anyone who wants to, you look around the room and you can see that there is like once your eyes adjust and you're in that like that once the adrenaline starts to leave your body and there's like as the adrenaline leaves that like cortisol takes over and everything feels slower and a little bit more sluggish and even like the muscles that you were engaging that didn't hurt all of a sudden hurt. Korax, you feel the pain of all of the ribs you've broken as it now is like you struggle to breathe. You can hear the sound of like the rasping breath of Korax over the sound of whatever this watery noise is. But as you look around the cavern, you see that there are strange to you, serpentine iconography around the room. Some of them has like lichen growing out of it. Some of them has like this strange stone that is like smooth and sort of shimmers. But everything is like sort of squared serpentine designs here. And across the cavern, where the precipice is, probably about 60 feet over nothing, there is a mosaic on the wall that appears to be a kind of like, it's not like round edges, but more squared, of this coiled sort of serpent with massive wings. And you see that there are smaller serpents sort of praising this thing.
Okay, I have something that Antares will do. If anyone else that doesn't have anything to do with this immediate moment.
Go for it.
Yeah, she's very pointedly like redoing the buckles and like there's like you hear like the pull of like the leather straps and stuff as she's forcefully like going through these motions, and then she glances up and she sees the state that Korax is in, and then she will
Do I also notice the state that Korax is in?
Yeah, it's hard not to. Like, he is slumped on the ground. You see that there is blood. Like, not like, he wasn't, like, tossed around, but he definitely has, like, a little bit of blood, like, on his head. Like, he's got a head wound. You see him, like, holding on one side, and you hear, like, as he's breathing through broken ribs.
Seydlitz is going to order Raiden to come out of his shadow and use his healing side of his dual essence.
Okay. Oh, and Terrius, what are you doing as well?
She's going to walk over to him and, like, crouch and like right next to him, and she says to him in like in a very dull tone, "You look like shit." And I'm gonna see if I could roll for some bullshit here, Mike. I put one of my divine shifts into healing, which gives me an extra recovery roll. Can I give that recovery roll to him?
Hold on. When Raiden uses dual essence, it gives everybody a free 1d6 recovery roll.
Korax needs all of them.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Well, Just
Mechanically speaking, Korax has a total of 8 stat points left.
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm using that healing aura, so
Yeah, for sure.
everybody gets 1 free d6.
So, Antares, to answer your question, I think yes, but in the same way that Korax put his divine shift into the book, when he was using that. So, like, to use your healing on somebody else, you basically have to put your divine shift. Like, you have to use your. It's like lay on divine shift. So you would lose that divine shift until like the next day, right? It is actively healing Korax. Korax, you don't gain a 4th divine shift. You just have the 1, the number you have, or the 3 you have. But yeah, it would lock that away from you, Antares, and heal him for a d6.
That's fine. Because I'm assuming once, because I don't remember if it's specified. I'm assuming I can only use it once per day anyway.
You can only use any of your things once per day. Any of your healings once per day.
Yeah. So if I use it for myself, I wouldn't be able to use it again anyway. So
that's fair. Yep.
Yeah.
So you do that. So you go over there, and there's like a quiet conversation between you and Korax. Actually, describe to me what it looks like as you do that. We've never seen that happen before.
Yeah, I think she just crouches down, and like hands dangling, but like between her knees. And she's like, "You look like shit," and her nimbus flares up, and it glows like a little brighter, and she puts her hand on his shoulder, and then it's like the glow moves instead of like the glow just in the nimbus, it moves down her body, and the glow seems to go to her hand, and then it moves to him.
I like it. So as this conversation is happening, we see, anyone paying attention would see Seydlitz kind of like over his shoulder, almost like talking to no one. And you see in one of the shadows cast by the luminescent fungi, you see like 2 paws sort of pull themselves up and out of the shadow, and we see this massive dire wolf size creature pull himself out of the shadow, to which Tandri immediately scrambles back and stumbles over his pack, falling on his ass.
Raiden goes around and gives everybody a lick, and then they start glowing green, and that's how they heal.
Perfect. Yeah, I think there's like a little as he emerges from this, and sort of gives everyone a little nuzzle, so everyone can heal a 1d6. Anyone that needs it.
So it should be +3, Chris. Because we're
Plus
tier 3.
3?
We're tier 3.
Oh, I've always had it on +1. I didn't realize. So I add 2 more. 4 more.
Oh, I can. I've always
Everyone
had
has
too.
to give Raiden little scritches on his scruff in order to get this. If you don't do it, and if you don't comment on his stretch, you don't get it.
I'm not that evil.
No, that's the rule. You have to say good stretch.
Once Raiden is done, he just Seydlitz just calls him over and pets him on the head. Good boy.
Yeah, he just sort of like plops down, and like at his sitting height, he's still like up to your shoulder. Yeah, the 4 of you are well, the 6 of you now, I guess, are in this area. Mina and Terry still a little hopeless. What are you doing here? You see that Tandri, who only knows Antares and Seydlitz, is sort of getting his shit together after he adjusts to the giant wolf that just appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, quite literally. And you see him like get his shit together in his pack, and you see him like look over the precipice as he's trying to like get his bearings. Obviously, this is not a well-traveled road. Definitely not on the path that was like kind of predetermined for you guys to take. So he's trying to get his bearings.
Yeah, I think after her glow subsides and her nimbus will just like the outline will just like fade. She just stands up and turns away.
Before she steps up, Korax puts his hand on hers and says, "Thank you. That was rough."
She just gives a nod and then steps away.
After a few minutes of sitting there in silence and hoping he doesn't die in the meantime, Korax will pulls his cloak off, and then he starts to sort of bandage up around the massive bruising he's got on his ribs from whatever those things were that were thrown at him. And once that is bandaged, he will have a look at the weird staff thing that Mina gave to him and the little slingy thing and try and understand what they are and how they work.
Yeah, interesting. Go ahead and roll intelligence. Nothing with godly anything will help you there, but anything with magical knowledge may help you.
To learn. That's all books. Finding the details. Finding details in their surroundings. Does that help at all?
I'll take that.
All right. And difficulty?
Difficulty is gonna be, let's set it at 5.
Set it at 5. Okay. I'm not going to use effort because that's too expensive. Fail.
What do you mean it's too expensive? What are you, dying?
I mean, I can't afford the cost.
What's it? What are you at? Like 10 health?
I'm doing great now.
Edge?
It still costs.
Edge still would make it cost like what?
Yeah, it still
1?
costs like
Costs
2.
1.
He
Okay.
can't afford 1. Wow.
So, yeah, he was at 8 hit points and he only healed like 2d6 worth of hit points. 7 hit points. So he's at double his hit points. All right. So the leather strop is basically a sling that is. You can see that it is. It's like handcrafted, and you can see that there are like serpent symbology, iconography, kind of like etched into like tooled into the leather. It definitely is well worn in that kind of like a leather belt is kind of rigid, right? But like well worn, well worked leather. It's very like easily fluid, very movable. You've never used a sling before. You imagine it's the same thing, except at no point in your hasty searching did you find whatever the hell was hitting you out of the sling. So you imagine it's a piece of leather. You can put a rock in there, and you can still sling a rock. Pretty simple principle for that. But what was causing it to like glow and be a blast of light that hit you, you have no idea. As far as the idol goes, the idol is a small stone idol. It is again. This is the same thing that Tandri put in the wall. It is intricately carved to look like a coiled snake with 2 jeweled eyes, and they both glow like an uneasy green. And as you kind of hold it and look at it, at first it's like the light catching the eyes, but more it's as you like focus on it, you can see that it's actually like pulsing with some sort of energy. This serpent creature, you have no idea what this could represent. It could represent the Kathir. It could represent some sort of like, something that they worship, especially given the giant winged serpent on the wall. But this does not track with any godly being you know or have ever heard of.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
He will tuck it into into a pocket if it fits, and try and figure it out another day.
Okay. What is everyone else doing in this short respite?
Seydlitz is petting his dog.
Mm-hmm.
The best type of healing.
Mina heads over to the running water and just starts cleaning the dinosaur spit off of himself.
As luck would have it, Mina, you head over to the edge of the precipice to where you hear the running water sound, and you realize that as you look out over the precipice, sort of standing there where Tandri is, there is no running water, first of all, and at the edge of the precipice is a fathomless drop. You see no bottom to this. In fact, if you look back over your shoulder where you can see the switchback ridge sort of descending down, eventually that descends down to a point where it just looks like sheer stone. and you have no idea how deep that goes. There doesn't seem to be water, and you can't see any water. You just hear the sound of water, and the sound seems like it is far closer than it should be. Like it sounds like you should reach over the precipice and touch water, but you reach over and you clearly see nothing there.
He'll kind of look over at Tandri and say, "Who are you? I'm Mina."
Oh, I'm Tandri. The guild sent me. I'm your guide.
Oh, any clues where we are?
Oh, is it time for angry Seydlitz rant?
Oh, no. Unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out this cave system that we're in here, as far as I understand, has not been mapped yet, which is strange this close to the surface. But it is a hidden Kathir tunnel, so we haven't had time to map all of those. I'm sure I can figure out where we are. I just need time to get my bearings.
Well, that must give you naming rights.
Well, I'll be sure to let the guild know.
How do we get out of here and down to the third depth?
Well, the easiest way would be, and he points back to the tunnel you all came down. He says, but barring another interaction with the Thunder Beasts, I did note that there is a precarious path down over there.
You've earned your coin already. Well done. And Mina will head back to the others and say, Tandri's found a way out of here, but maybe we should rest up a bit.
Seydlitz is going to walk up to Mina and put his hand on Mina's shoulders. Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Why did you leave without saying anything?
Well, you and Tandri,
Seydlitz has that face of silent fury, and you can tell.
Yeah. He goes, well, you and Antares didn't wanted to wait for the others, but I mean, how would you feel if it was your mother waiting to be rescued? And you know, Korax's sister was there. We couldn't sit around doing nothing.
Then you could have told us, at least. Or do you want me to throw you back into the jaws of those thunder beasts?
Well, we were fine until you showed up. It all went south from there.
Seydlitz turns to Antares. You hear this guy?
She doesn't say anything.
You should have saw the way Korax handled those snake people. He almost single-handedly took them all out.
You realize I could follow your tracks all the way from the start, and I saw them going every single which way till Sunday.
We got here, didn't we? Korax knows the way. He's got a map.
Seydlitz just stares into Mina, not taking any of his excuses.
By this time, Korax is standing up, and he walks up and he puts a hand on Seydlitz's shoulder. Well, there's no time like the present. If this guy's got a route, we might as well go.
You two are lucky to be alive. Because if we hadn't showed up with Tandri, you would both be dinosaur food.
I don't know. I think Mina would have killed them both.
Korax had a plan. It was working until they kind of started destroying the wall. But I'm sure Korax would have thought of something else.
Can I roll for bullshit? No, I'm kidding.
Mina believes it. Mina wholeheartedly believes that they would have got out of that situation.
Oh God. Do you believe it, Norm?
When you've got right on your side, you have might on your side.
She glances at Tandri and motions for the path that he's pointed out.
Tandri is actively trying to ignore whatever you all are saying. He doesn't get paid enough for internal squabbling. But he, like, you see, like, he sees motion, he looks to you, and he just sort of, like, nods. And you see him sort of holding his pack in one hand, and he walks back to, like, the wall where the entrance to the tunnel is. And you see him, like, assessing the left-hand side of this thing. And you see him put his backpack on, like, his pack, on his front. And he presses his back to the wall, and you see him begin to shimmy down the ridge. The ridge is maybe a foot, 16 inches wide at most. And so pressing his back to the wall, having your backpack there would tip you right over. So he kind of puts the backpack on his front, presses his back to the wall, and he begins to sideways go down this thing. He gets to the first switchback, so it goes down. You see it go down again. He gets to the first one, and you see him sort of look around. And you see him like reach into one of his side pouches of his pack while you guys are also on top of the thing. And he pulls out a glass vial. And Seydlitz, you've seen these before, right? It's basically a double cylinder glass vial. So he like uncaps the first cylinder, pulls out the other one, snaps that in half, throws it back inside, and reseals it. And you see him sort of shake it back and forth, and the whole thing glows white. And then he just tosses it over the edge. And from the precipice, you guys just watch this glowing white orb just until you can't see it anymore.
Perfect. Anyone have any parachutes? She's gonna follow him.
Okay.
She'll be second, like after Tandri.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna say to him, we're gonna need a spot to rest eventually, to camp.
He stays where he was, and if you like get down to him, he kind of looks back to you and says, "If you need to camp, that would be the best spot. It's not really an entrance, and we'd see anything coming from here unless there's any hidden tunnels, but we really can't account for hidden tunnels."
She glances around. Can they sheer climb?
He kind of
right here.
he sort of gets caught on his words, and he kind of like looks down and he says, "They don't have legs."
Right.
So it's a lot less work for them.
A lot less work, so that means they can climb a sheer face.
Yeah, so like this switchback, they just slither up it, and it's fine. Like they don't have to. You're stepping and can fall off.
True, but like it's still a bottleneck up this way. Whereas if they can climb a sheer face, they can literally come from almost any direction.
That's true. He does indicate that they can't account for hidden tunnels, but they can't account for hidden tunnels anywhere here.
Okay, so she will shimmy back to the surface and say, "If we need to rest, this is the best place to do it." And she will shuck off her backpack and drop it next to the wall.
I'm good to go.
I think the only one here that really needs rest is Korax.
I just want to get going. I want to find my sister as soon as possible.
So, are we going back up or are we going down?
She'll put her bag back on. Yes, we're going. Then she will go down, and she will inform Tandri.
Okay. Tandri begins to scoot along the switchback. The most difficult parts are the change in direction, as it like you kind of do the crab scoot one way, and then you get to like a slightly larger platform, and you kind of got to re-angle yourself and kind of crab scoot the other way. What I would like is everyone to go ahead and make me a difficulty 5 speed check.
Not one of mine.
I
have
know.
Spikes,
I know.
rope. I have spikes, rope, and a hammer. Can I use those as assets? They're for climbing.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say. You can, but then they're gone. So what you can do is you can spike into the cliff face and basically attach rope every time you every so often you spike it in. That way, if you fall, you're always attached. But like the only way to get the rope back from the beginning is to climb all the way back up, right? So you can use it here, but then you basically sacrifice. You basically leave the rope and the spikes here.
Would that be useful for everybody else as well?
Yep, everyone could gain an asset from this, but you basically sacrifice the spike and ropes.
That's fine. I've had them all this time and have no use for them until now.
Great. So in that case, I will say Seydlitz would have to go second to help spike these in down the way. So everyone can go ahead and make a difficulty 5 speed check with an asset for rope.
Can I also get an asset for my... I ignore the effects of terrain while moving for an hour? Push on through?
I'll give you an asset for that. Yeah, and if anyone has balance or something like that, you can use that as a skill.
I have climbing, swimming, jumping, and balance at level train, so I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
use that. 5. I don't see the rolls, so... Oh, God.
Fuck, 2 assets. Ugh.
What are we doing, G?
You needed to beat 0, and you rolled a 1.
Oh, wow.
Why you should always roll the dice, right?
I love that mentality. What happens here? I'll tell you what, G. I'm gonna turn this into something good. I'm gonna save my corruption point because that's what I was gonna use it for anyway.
Yep.
You stumble. You know, I'll tell you what. Tell me what distracts you and makes you stumble.
It's the damn rope and carabines.
For Christ's sake.
Seydlitz trying to help made everything worse.
Yeah, it's weird because she can push on through. She can ignore the effects of terrain, right? When she uses that ability, so having like stumbling seems kind of not fitting.
I mean, it could be vertigo. You don't see the bottom of this place at all.
Yeah, and she's also got that fucking...
I think this is the worst outcome because, honestly, if anyone should have failed here, it should have been Seydlitz, simply because I have controlled fall.
Oh.
So if I failed, I could at least do something about it. I took that skill in anticipation of the deeps.
Yeah, I think in her stupid despair, she might glance down, and then as she glanced down, it's like she takes her eye off the forward shuffle, and there's like a small little outcropping of where like the rock juts out. So you would have had to like duck underneath it, but because she's got her backpack and she glances down, she doesn't see it. So this jutting rock pushes her forward, and she like loses her balance.
Perfect. So what we see happen is everything that you described, Antares. You are moving. You feel that like you, and it's that like you can't even help it, right? It's that like if you get like scratched in the back, you kind of that like back arch thing. Like if you ever get hit like in like between your shoulder blades, like that's what happens. So you like hit that rock and you kind of like forward, except there's no forward for you to go, and just that like arching of your shoulder blades is enough to tip you forward, and there's not a lot to grab onto. And in that moment of realizing that you're falling, that like panic sets in where like you just start grabbing for anything and inherently grab nothing, and you start to fall forward. Collectively, ropes, allies, everyone does whatever they can to like cinch the rope tight, to reach down, grab you, basically form this chain. As your feet leave the ground, you are caught by, I'll say Seydlitz and Mina are on the other side of you, right? So the two of them sort of grab you, one hand on the ropes, one hand on you, sort of pulling you up. You take no damage. Nothing terrible happens to you. But as you are as you're falling, and there's that grab, that like snap happens, and you feel your pack shift. And as you are lurched up with only like upper body strength, there's that like jerk motion as you are pulled forward, and your pack shifts again. And you feel a strap slip. And you can hear a buckle jangle. And Korax, you see a black orb.
No.
Thump, 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 out of the bag.
Huzzah! Finally got rid of that thing.
My precious.
No roll necessary. Everyone who sees this, which will be all of you, you are overcome with a sense of dread.
Do I see it?
So basically, like, you feel the shift in your pack, and you can see, like, as you're like looking up, that they see something. It's enough to like make you look back, right? So everyone sees this. You all have an overwhelming sense of dread, not like the dread of loss or like, oh no, the orb, but like you have no idea what the orb did. You know how it got there. You know what it's been doing to you. You have no idea what havoc it could wreak. And as you watch this little black glassy orb disappear into darkness, there's that like, oh shit moment, as like this could be very bad, as you successfully pull Antares back up onto the ridge, reset her safely.
I certainly hope the Slee don't get that.
The Kathir.
Kathir.
The Sleen have legs.
Sorry, I'm not good with this.
You kind of reset Antares is that moment where like you have to like calm down from like whatever panic sort of sets in when you're falling into a giant crevasse. And you all feel a rush, an upward rush of hot air. Not the warm current that you were feeling before. You feel a blast of hot air, enough to like make your hair ruffle, your clothes ruffle, and it smells old is the only word that comes to mind. This is not like the smell of old books or like the smell of a graveyard or an old swamp. It just smells ancient. It's a smell that you cannot even rectify what this could be. GM intrusion for Korax. If you'd like one, buddy.
Mike, I'm going to keep my streak going and never say no.
Outstanding. Korax, you get this blast of hot air. Oh, so first of all, XP for you. Who are you giving the second one to?
Well, seems like G needs XP so she doesn't fall off cliffs. So I'll give it to G.
That's a good call.
And maybe Antares won't kill me in the next 20 minutes. So
maybe. This is the corruption bar from this episode. You did nothing, appropriately so, to help Antares back on the wall. And I imagine that that Korax, you've like wrapped the rope around yourself in a way that like it's almost inconvenient to walk, just to ensure that you don't fall off this cliff. So you being in the least amount of danger of falling off the cliff, you watch as this orb, and you feel that, oh no, that was mine, and I needed it for some reason, as it's gone. That rush of hot air up. And like as you're like leaned over watching this, that rush of hot air, you being the only one really focusing on the orb, everyone else sort of focusing on Antares, the rush of hot air sort of hits you in the face, enough to kind of make you stumble back. And as you stumble back, you sort of like just a little love tap on the back of the head as you like bump into the cliffside. And you, in that moment of pain in your head, your eyes close and your vision sort of like does that like starburst effect of like when you get hit in the head. And you see two massive, glowing red serpentine eyes staring back at you. As soon as your head hits, you see that happen. And you feel rage and the desire for freedom. And that is your corruption bar / GM intrusion.
I feel that whatever this is angry and wants to be free, not that I'm angry and want to be free.
Correct.
Okay. As I say, I'm free.
Yeah. You're fine. You're fine.
You're off the rope. Fall off the cliff. You're free for a few moments.
Yeah.
Splat.
He shakes his head after that and looks back over the edge. After a few seconds, when the rope tugs as everyone starts to move, he goes, "We need to get going quick. There's something not right here."
Everyone roll me a difficulty 3 perception intelligence.
Can I give you might?
You can give me perception intelligence.
If
If your intelligence is 0, you just straight up can't roll.
What about finding the details, Mike? Trying to find details in their surroundings.
I'll give you that one.
I also have eye for detail, but that involves no larger than a typical
Terrius
room.
fails as usual.
Can I use eye for detail as an asset?
Yeah, I'll say yeah. The size of a room fits here, more or less.
Well, it's more of the ability itself is I use it, spend 2 intelligence points, I just ask a question that you must answer truthfully, but I don't think that applies here.
Yeah,
So
you can use it as an
difficulty
asset.
5.
Oh, no,
Sorry, I lost difficulty.
3.
3.
3? Alright.
I think she just got like her head back against the wall. She's just like just breathing heavily.
Korax and Seydlitz, you don't hear anything. You used to hear the sound of rushing water. Now you hear nothing. And the warm breeze is gone.
Korax will then pipe up. Mr. Whitecap guy, can we go quicker?
Sure, we can go as
quick
as you like. And he begins to shimmy faster.
I have
If anyone
the
is
same bad feeling, Korax.
Something is angry. And all the noise is gone.
Do we notice it now that he's pointed it out?
Yeah, as soon as he says it, you realize that, like, oh yeah, and it probably was like for like the two of you, right? It is like the rush of adrenaline of like pulling someone up and almost dying that you hear like like your own heartbeat in your ears, and that sort of fades. And once that fades, you realize like, oh yeah, there's an absence of noise now.
I think she just swears under her breath and she starts moving.
Okay. So is Raiden still with you, Raiden? Or is he in your shadow?
Raiden would go into my shadow at this moment simply because it's a lot easier to travel that way.
That's what I expected. I just wanted to confirm. We don't have a giant direwolf trying to
shimmy down the cliff.
Scooby-Doo his way down the cliff.
No, that would be comedic. No.
You guys you switch back several more times, and judging by where you were, you estimate that you're probably 100 feet down from where you were before, and on the last zig, it sort of empties out into like almost a mirror image of the precipice above you, the one that was like 100 feet up. You see it scoop down, and it spills out into probably what is ultimately like a 15 by 15 or 20 by 20 like precipice of flat rocky ground. You see that there is a tunnel in the back wall, again exactly mirroring the one above you. And you see that. Oh, sorry, it's not a tunnel. It's the crevice that you found in Terry's. So it's that same sort of crack that you feel. And again, you can look down over the precipice and you see that same just bottomless amount of ground gone.
Good job, Tandri.
Thanks. And you see him pull out a notebook and he's like sketching a rough sketch of where we are.
Yeah.
So that he can like A, have a map, and B, know how to get back.
Seydlitz looks up at the cliff face with a bit of a sigh, knowing he won't be able to recover those spikes.
I mean, you can on the way up if you go back the same way.
He just kind of twirls the hammer in his hand.
Okay. Go for you.
She's just gonna move to the crack in the wall and investigate it.
As far as you can tell, it looks exactly like the other crack. Not like identical, but like you imagine it's the same kind of crack. And if it is, one, you can just shimmy through, like take your backpack off and hold it and shimmy through. Or if it is exactly like the one above you, there should be a place for one of those items. And you saw Korax fucking around with one of those items.
I'm going to steal more of my shit.
Ooh,
That was Tandri that was screwing around with the items.
No, he had it, but he put it in the wall, and it stayed there. That's what made the wall open up.
Oh.
But Korax also has one of the idols.
Well, if we can shimmy through without using the item, then...
Yep. Yeah, it's just a tight squeeze. A very uncomfortable tight squeeze.
As they catch their breath on this in this area, Korax looks to Tandri and says, you can judge roughly how far down we've come from that. Do we need to go further down, or is this roughly deep enough for Steps of the Colossus?
Oh, we're in the first deep still.
Okay, so we need to go down more?
Yeah.
That
How do
looks
we
like the
know?
quickest route.
That's the third deep.
Korax looks back to the cliff face and says, that looks like the fastest route.
This is the end. This is it. Like the
okay.
zigzag. It bottoms out here. All you see is like the drop and a tunnel.
Okay.
Like you've entered in some like, back hallway of the Kathir Empire. Yeah, he looks at you and says, "No, I think we're still in the first deep."
When we exit this path,
looks like
we
Kathir
may
construction.
find out.
How do we know when we reach the second?
Oh, very easily. We call it the fungal throne. It's not that. It's a giant forest of fungus, mushrooms as tall as buildings.
Okay, then.
Wish we had Galvin here.
Yeah, you just have to watch out for the knights.
What happens during the nights?
Oh, no, the other kind of knights. The
Well,
kinds with swords.
Oh, those kind of nights. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how do we know if it's night and day?
I don't think it's ever really been a concern.
How do you know when to sleep?
When you're tired?
Okay.
and Terry's goes and starts shimmying.
How
Takes
do you
off
know
her
when to
backpack.
sleep? How do you know when to sleep in the Nightlands?
the shop's all closed and
Fuck you, Norm. Oh, that was, I don't know. I walked into that one. I deserve that. I deserve that. Oh, God.
And then Terry's start shimmying into this this crack. You hear her voice. In Corso, they ring a bell.
Oh. Okay. He sees that you've gone into this, and he takes off his backpack and begins to shimmy after you.
Corax is following as well.
Okay. Mina, Seydlitz.
Mina will bring up the rear.
Okay.
Mina.
What?
I guess Seydlitz will be in front of Mina.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All I heard was
Sorry.
Mina. Like, I thought you were gonna say something.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And Terry's, you are the first one out. You don't sense downward motion. You sense like straight across motion. And as you exit, as you make your way towards the edge, you can see the sliver of the exit of the squeeze that you're in, essentially. And you can see that there is a light. Not like the fungi that was around before. It's sort of a flickering, almost like a sickly greenish color. As you make your way closer, your kind of ears perk up. You don't hear anything, but you do see the light. There is a motion to the light. What do you do?
She reaches back with her hand and she lightly taps Tandri's shoulder, and then she stealthily moves to the edge so she can see through.
Yeah, you get to the edge of this thing and you see a large chamber, like a singular room. You see half the room is the room is like partially constructed and partially natural cavern. Like you imagine this was like it dug out at some point. So like the first like the ground and like maybe 15 feet up is constructed as if like somebody like tiled the walls and smoothed them out, and there's a tiled floor here. You see that as you get to the edge there are several sconces on the wall that are sort of glowing this green yellow flickering fire in here. And you see that there's a large stone plinth, probably about 5 feet off the ground. You see like what amounts to being candles lit on this thing, in like ritual candles, and you see that same large serpent here with massive wings across this thing. It's got a square coiled body around this thing, and you see evidence that this is it's not forgotten. The fire is on. The candles are burning. This is a used place, seemingly of worship. You seem to have found your way into some sort of Kathir chamber.
And there's no Kathir in it?
There are no Kathir in it currently.
Okay, she will cautiously step out and then step aside so everyone else can make their way out. And she will like crouch down and like survey. And she will motion, like she'll turn her head as everyone comes and just like shh.
You look around, and to your left there is a door, a stone double door that's probably like 10 feet tall, so pretty standard door size. But there's a stone double door, again with like two snakes facing each other in that same sort of square style.
Okay. Is that the only way out?
Appears to be. Unless, again, there's some sort of hidden passageway like you just found.
Yeah. She will silently motion to Tandri towards the door.
The rest of you emerge. What are you doing as you see this room?
I think Mina will assess the room and take up a guard position just on the inside of the exit in case anyone comes through.
Okay.
Seydlitz is taking it all in.
The room, Mike, you said there's the statue thing in the middle, surrounded by candles.
So if you basically on the other side of the wall, across the way, this thing's up against the wall. It's like a mosaic in the wall of this,
Okay.
almost like a in the way that like a bas relief is like a bas relief is like cut out of the wall. This is just on the wall. With a stone plinth on this thing, candles, and sort of like in a almost semicircular way. You can see like what looks like carpets to you guys, or like some sort of padding on the floor as if they were facing in this kind of like a sunburst. And the room is like generally roundish. It seems like it was a natural cavern, just sort of like hollowed out more. And to the left hand side is the double door.
Okay, and the double door faces directly at this altar, for lack of a better word?
No, so that if you were to walk in the double door, the altar is on the left-hand side. So as
Okay.
you guys emerge from the tunnel, the serpent statue is directly in front of you guys.
Okay, and there's nothing but this serpent statue in the room with the candles.
There are like jars, and like it looks like this is a place that's used, just not currently used. And nothing. I mean. Nothing here looks old in the sense that everything here is ancient, but like it looks like it is used. It's not like a forgotten place.
Korax will walk into the room because the doors are closed and it is the only entrance. As everyone's moving towards the door, he moves towards that altar. And if there are any candles that have gone out, he'll relight them.
Okay. So Mina, you've gone towards the door to take up a defensive position. Korax, you are relighting the candles on the statue. And Terry's and Seydlitz, what are you doing?
Korax, do you think they have their own gods? As Seydlitz looks around the room.
Korax just nods. Seydlitz would see him just nodding constantly.
And then Terry's will just go and help Tandri. She's pretty much going to be assisting him wherever she can.
Okay. Korax, roll me investigate. So intelligence. Difficulty 3.
Finding the details helps.
It does.
Okay. Knowledge of godly beings at all?
That'll be a different roll.
Okay. Difficulty 3. Not 20.
Nice.
Outstanding. No other roll needed then. You find 2 things. The first of which sticks out. You see it on the altar, on the stone plinth, right? As you're lighting candles. And at first you kind of just like glance over it, like it sort of blends in, but something about it like sticks in your mind. And you look back. You find what is a carved stone tooth. And something about it, like the way it's curved, and from looking at it previously, you're pretty sure they weren't just slinging regular rocks at you with the sling. They were slinging things like this at you. The way this is, it seems to be very aerodynamic for a tooth. And you know that whatever this is can be shot with the sling. You have no idea what it does at this moment, but you believe that it can do something. And as you are kind of looking over this and perhaps contemplating Seydlitz's question, you look over the stone statue of what is clearly some sort of reverential statue. You notice that the scales carved into this thing, they all seem to be a little like the fat part of the scale, what would underlap the other ones, seems to be like thicker than it should be. as you're like paying super close attention to this for some reason. And as you sort of like trace your eyes down this zigzag back and forth serpent coil, you see one scale that sort of flickers in the light, and you realize there's an iridescent sheen on that one scale. And it dawns on you with that nat 20 that perhaps all of these at one point had this iridescent scale sort of lodged into this, and therefore this can be removed.
Chris wants him to take that. Would Korax take it?
All the other ones seem to be missing.
Come on, Korax the loot goblin.
Just think of all the knowledge
Yeah,
you might
but
gain.
this is a temple. Korax will take it off. Then does it? If it's loose, completely loose, that he can pick it up and potentially put it back, he would take it off and investigate it and have a look and see what it is.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a difficulty 5. Cypher check. Magic knowledge would help you here.
So magic training would help in that. Finding the details.
I don't think that one would help in this instance.
The finding the details.
Yeah, the magic knowledge will.
Okay. That's the only one other than. Okay, so it was an intellect, difficulty 5.
Yeah.
I'll give you 1 effort on this, and 1 asset. Nope.
You sense that it does something. It's not just a scale. There's something about this that like it can do something. What it does, you're not sure. How to make it do it, you're also not sure. But it does something. It's not just a shiny scale.
Okay, in that case, he will pocket it and the tooth.
Okay. You take both of those things. What are the rest of you doing as Korax sort of moves to the altar and begins examining this?
She's at the door with Tandri, and she's listening and preparing to open the door with him, I suspect, so they can keep moving.
Okay.
Seydlitz is looking around for items that he might find useful.
You look around, and you see that there are like cloth pieces that look like they are like mats or like almost carpets in the general, like facing in that sunburst sort of pattern. The mosaic, but nothing in here is like everything in here has a purpose. So you see like candles, you see like incense burners, like censer dishes. The more you look around at these things, it becomes more and more clear, especially for you, Seydlitz, which you know, you being the older member here, you remember the old stories. This seems more and more like a temple the more you look at it. The Kathir, you imagine the Kathir are praying to something, whatever this is, and therefore everything in here is temple-like. That being said, a censer full of hot incense to the face still hurts, but nothing in here is something that, like, I think Seydlitz would go, I need that.
Seydlitz would probably just be examining the mosaic, kind of questioning to himself. Because even though he never really cared much about the worship of the old gods, he's starting to question, it's like, did they worship our gods or did they have their own?
Interesting. Perfect. As you contemplate this and you sort of look around, Korax, you contemplate what you've just found, and you in some strange way, pay some sort of reverence at this shrine, relighting the candles. Antares ready to bound forward into the unknown, and Mina always watchful, always ready. We transition from here. The camera pulls back down the hidden crevice, out onto the precipice, the ledge, and then free falls down. And we see the lichen-covered, fungi, luminescent cavern that you came from sort of disappear as the camera descends down. And for a while, we see nothing but darkness. And then in that darkness, something moves. Something shimmers, light catches it from somewhere, and we see thousands of huge iridescent scales, just like the one Korax found. And we see a beast of unfathomable size slither across the camera's view. And it continues and continues and continues. And minutes pass with no end in sight. And that's where we end this episode.
Did the warp wipe up Jormungand? Hell!
I don't know.
Oh shit.
I don't know. Guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. That's what happens when we throw ancient artifacts into holes.
We gave their ancient snake god despair.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see what comes from that. So that's where we're going to wrap up episode 44. This one was called Below and Beyond. So let's go around, do our outros so we can get the hell out of here and talk about this show in our after show. Again, if you guys want access to this after show, you can check it out in our Patreon, link in the description down below. And while you're down there clicking on that link, make sure you join us in our Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And for now, we'll start with not angry this episode. G, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Yeah, I had so many things I had written down, but I'll hang on to it. Maybe I'll still get to say them.
Yeah, maybe you'll be mad next episode.
Yeah, maybe. Hi, I'm your friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You'll find me modding during the weeks for the witching hour. You'll find me in all things Patreon, which is the one-shots next weekend, and then next Saturday, and on Sunday it's the Vaesen campaign Mundus Novus. And then with Chris for Age of Always Atari Twilight, which is looking like November 2nd. I just need to confirm that date. And you'll find me in the Discord all the time.
Hell freaking yeah. From there, we'll jump over to the typical arbiter of Antares' anger. Chris, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Norm. I'm Chris, aka Necro. You can
So
find me
Norm.
in the Discord.
I feel like it would have been Norm. I think we all did.
You can find me in the Discord. You can find me in Age of Always with G. You can find me in the Patreon one-shots normally. And that is all. Nowhere else.
I feel like Mina is the object of Antares' exasperation, but usually it's anger at Korax. But either way, we'll transition to Norm next. Norm, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm Normal Snow. You can find me in this campaign and the one-shots, and sometimes in the Discord.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, Matt, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I am Matt, or Seydlitz, or D, depending on which area you're at. And you'll find me here in the Patreon one-shots and Patreon campaign.
Hell yeah. And that's it for us, guys. Again, go check us out on all the socials. Go check us out over on Patreon. And if you like the show, leave a comment in the YouTube space. That's fun. That's it from us. We'll see you guys next time for more of these shenanigans. We will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.